Are you thinking about investing in your first Airbnb? We're going to talk all about how to do that, especially here in Ventura County in this video. What is up, everyone? I'm Brian, the Beekeeping Realtor, and today we're talking all about short-term rentals. So what the heck is a short-term rental? A short-term rental is a home that you can rent for typically less than 30 days, although some let you rent a little longer. Why would you do that? Well, typically short-term rentals gross a lot more money than long-term rentals. For example, the average long-term rental, 3-bedroom, 2-bath here in Newbury Park, is around $47,000 a year. When you compare that to an Airbnb, the average Airbnb is $78,000 a year, and the top performers can break $100,000 a year. So there's a lot more money to be made. Now, is it too good to be true? Not really. It's just a lot more work. You need to think of this more like running a hotel and less like having an investment property, okay? We've got to clean between every guest, the management fees are much higher, and just generally this is more of a business and a lot more active work than a long-term rental. So before we get started, you need to think about, why are you doing this? Is it just for fun, just because you want to hang on to a property? Maybe you want to rent out a room? Are you doing this because you're trying to have passive income? Your motivation and how much work and effort you want to put into this is going to really dictate the numbers and what types of properties and how you want to run this business. The second step, we need to pick a strategy. Are we looking at houses? Are we looking at mother-in-law suites? Are we looking at renting out rooms? Are you going to rent out tents? Some people have gotten away with that, right? So what kind of strategy, what types of properties are you going to be chasing to make all of this work? Next up, you need to pick a real estate agent. Now, if you're in Ventura County, call CADRE. But if you're not, then you need to ask a lot of questions. What kind of cap rates should I be expecting? What neighborhoods work really well? Is there any tips in terms of property management that you recommend, or things that we should keep an eye out for? What types of properties are the most successful? Do you have access to any platforms or programs that could make this whole process easier? Just generally get a sense of if they have any idea how Airbnbs work, and if they're going to be more helpful for you, or if you're really going to be teaching them. Next up, we want to figure out where we want to invest. For the purpose of this video, we're going to look specifically at Ventura County. Now, we're not really going to favor any cities over others. The whole county has had wild success with Airbnbs. And while I know some areas are more about vacation destinations, Ventura County is more about relocation or a life event. Maybe someone has a new job. Maybe someone has a move and they need somewhere to live while they're transitioning between locations. But we're not seeing as many people coming out for vacations. Most of the people getting Airbnbs are more for a life event of some kind. Now, that being said, we want to probably try and focus as best we can on these areas in Salmon. These are going to be areas that are unincorporated, so there's going to be fewer city regulations. There's only going to be county regulations. And that's going to be really, really helpful because some cities just completely ban Airbnbs. Sometimes they ban them for periods of less than 30 days or all kinds of other regulations like that. But if we're on county land, we have fewer regulations and we can get away with a lot more. We have to worry about a lot less in terms of people getting into our business. Next up, you want to check out your competition. Hop on either Airbnb or, if you can, AirDNA, or if your realtor has the AirDNA, right, you can hop on theirs and take a look at all the competition. See how many Airbnbs are in your neighborhood, see what's working, see what's not working. Don't hop on VRBO. It doesn't have a very good selection. Out here in our area, again, most people are on Airbnb, and just generally get a sense of what your neighborhood's like, what the competition's like, what's working, what's not, and really figure out what makes an Airbnb in your area successful. Next up, you want to analyze a lot of deals. Now, I recommend doing this with AirDNA, and you want to just pop in anywhere from 5 to 30 properties a day. Just practice, 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 okay? Take a look at the annual revenues, the daily average rate, occupancy rates. Big number here that's important is your cap rate. But you want to do just a lot of practice in identifying deals. Now, you don't need to buy every single home, right? You're probably only going to buy one a year, one every couple of years. take your time and look for really good deals and get really good at identifying really good deals, or find a realtor that can do that for you. Next up, you need to buy the home. Now, we're not going to go too much in depth into that process. We have so many resources on our YouTube channel for that already. All you need to know is you need to call CADRE. And if you're not in Ventura County, call me anyways. I will help you find a real estate agent that can help you out and do a fantastic job. Now that you have the property, we need to remodel it and we need to furnish it. Now, I wouldn't go too crazy on the remodel. I would try to get properties that are turnkey. I would try to have a budget of $20,000 or less on remodeling. Now, when it comes to furnishing, though, that's a different monster. Keep in mind, these people are coming in as guests. They usually want to use the kitchen and use the home. So you need to make sure that you have everything set up to be able to wash your clothes, do the dishes, cook, right? And have all the furnishing we need, from the beds, the couches, the art, everything else in between. So when we're talking about the price for furnishing, I've seen some people say you can get away with as low as $10 per foot of home. I've seen a lot of other people end up spending $20 to $30 per square foot of home. So, the toughest thing here is it's going to depend on how nice you're trying to make the short-term rental, but I would probably budget around $20 per square foot. Next up, we need to market your listing. We need to get pro photos. We want to get a full copy for all of this stuff for your property description. We want to use keywords. This is the part where we really need to put in time, because the difference between a poorly managed listing and a well-managed listing is like night and day. It's going to make you so much more money. And if you need help figuring out how to do this, first of all, your property manager should be pretty good at it. But if they're not, then take a look at all of the other videos I have on how to sell your home for more or why listings expire. That's going to be just a ton of all of the best tips you need to get the most out of your Airbnb listing. Next, you're going to need to assemble your team. You're going to need a maid. They need to clean up the property in between each guest, okay? They need to be flexible and be able to get in there in between each guest. Sometimes those time windows are small, so you have to pick someone that's familiar with this type of cleaning, okay? You're going to need a handyman, because anything that people can touch, they will break. The handyman needs to fix all those minor things, all the minor wear and tear to keep your property looking good. You're going to need a contractor for when the big stuff breaks, whether it's the HVAC, the roof, or anything else that's big. You're going to need a pest control person, because you don't want creepy crawlies creeping out your guests. You're going to need a pool guy and a landscaper if you have a pool or landscaping to take care of, and anything else you can think of. You want to put this team together early because you want to make sure that you don't have any interruptions in your service for your clients. And now it's time to operate and optimize. Now, this is a brand new business. It's not going to be wildly successful on day zero. You need to treat it like it's a starting hotel, okay? A lot of the other competition you're going to see, they have repeat customers that come to their Airbnb every year, every month, every whatever it is. You don't have that yet. So start out pricing kind of low. Make sure that you get a lot of guests in there and you get a lot of 5-star reviews. As you build up and are getting kind of overbooked, then it may be time to increase your prices. A couple of major hiccups I see a lot of Airbnb first timers run into. You're going to get dogs, you're going to get pets, but especially dogs on your property. Even if you say no dogs, and if you have in your head that there's not going to be any dogs, they're either going to sneak it in or your guests are going to have an ESA animal and then there's nothing you can do about it. So set up assuming there's going to be pets. Also, while it's cool to have special features that are unique just to you, you need to think about how this is running like a business, okay? We want to set up optimizations, we want to set up things to be automated, and we want to make sure that all of the work on the property can be done without you. I see a lot of first-time Airbnb hosts set up some kind of special feature, whether it's cool plants or something else that only they can do. You want to make sure that there are backups and backups for your backups so that your guests can have a good, consistent experience. Consistency is more important than quality. So if you are thinking about buying a short-term rental, you know what to do. Call Castro, and I'll catch you guys next time.